Hello!
Hi guys, my name is Veronica.
And I'm Bernice.
And welcome to our video.
Okay, class, in order for you guys to do your homework today, I'm going to go over the basics of romantic literature and how to identify what romantic literature basically is. So I'm going to give you guys a few important themes that come out frequently in romantic literature. So one would be imagination. There's a lot of emphasis on imagination and people's thoughts. And there's a lot of emphasis on the vernacular, which is basically everyday things. So an example of romantic literature would be Lydia Mariah Child's Modern City. And there you can see how basically how Child, she represents the city as a type of loneliness and how there's a loss of connection with a
Teacher?
Yes, Veronica?
I'm not following what you're saying. Do you have a PowerPoint or could you write it out on the board?
So basically the point of that skill was to show everyone that not everyone is the same kind of learner. So for example, when she was acting as a student, she was more of a visual learner. She wanted the teacher to write everything on the board, or she just needed to see. She just needed some way to see because she couldn't retain all the information by just hearing and writing it down.
Yeah, and then there's other students who are not like me who would probably benefit from auditory learning, or some other students don't learn unless they're doing something hands-on. We all have had our fair share of struggles in school, right? Now imagine how much harder those struggles would be if you didn't understand the language. Instructions as simple as take out your notebook will be very difficult if you don't know that language. You might think this is drastic, but a lot of students enter an American school without knowing a single word of English.
Saquen sus libretas y asegúrense que escriben lo que estoy diciendo y que están apagando atención porque todo lo que voy a decir ahorita va a estar en el examen la próxima semana.
What did she say?
Aprenda a hablar en español.
So the purpose of that skit was to show how English language learners feel when they are in a class and they don't know the language, so they don't understand anything that the teacher is saying. And because of that, it's usually why they don't follow along in class, because they don't understand.
And aside from that, you saw an example of how other students could help each other out, but they just refuse to help each other, which shouldn't be a problem. Obviously, if I know how to speak in Spanish and she doesn't, like, I'm gonna help her out because I want her to be a successful student as well. And that should be something that all students should look into, helping each other in order to get the best education possible. Did you know that 1 in 5 CPS students are English language learners, with 83% of them coming in only knowing Spanish?
Of the 342 schools audited in Chicago, nearly 71%, which is 242 of the schools, had bilingual programs that were in serious violation of state law. The remaining 100 schools were mostly in compliance, but just barely.
So of these schools that were audited, 24 of them had like no bilingual teachers at all, even though they're required by law. And obviously they needed those teachers. And then like in general, in CPS, after each year, there's at least 100 bilingual and ESL teachers that are needed, and those positions just stay open.
Aside from that, we have personal experience engaging with students that come in not knowing English, and then the teacher not being able to help them at all.
And then aside from that, like going off personal experience, when I first started school and when she first started school, we didn't know any English. We didn't speak English. Our parents raised us with only Spanish, and we know the struggles. We know what students go through and how much they can fall behind just due to a language barrier. Our goal is to get people to understand why we want to redefine an IEP, and it's because IEPs are usually for students that have disabilities. And although a language barrier, that's not a disability, and a lot of students with this language barrier are obviously they're all gonna benefit from them because it's gonna help the teachers focus on each student's weakness, and it's gonna help teachers identify like what they can do in order to strengthen any skills in order to become not only a better English learner but excel in their studies and become a better student as well.
By redefining what an IEP means, we will remove the negative connotation that comes with it, IEPs are usually for students who need a little extra help. And if we give that to everybody, all the students will have IEPs. Therefore, it won't signify that the student is different or just that they aren't good enough.
And aside from that, by giving each student an IEP, it's more of this is how this student learns and this is what this student will benefit from. And as we mentioned before, not every student learns the same. Not all the students have the same skills, and each student develops different skills at different rates. What we want to get all of you to understand is that we need to speak up for those who can't. We should start participating in school meetings, fundraising for resources. We should have rallies to raise awareness, or even if we can, personally help English language learners, learning students with schoolwork. We can also call out teachers who are supporting our students and just making sure that all students have equal opportunity.
So you might be wondering who can help. Well, first of all, English speakers need to speak up for non-English speakers, especially if you are an English speaker with privilege in the society. Bilingual students should also step in to speak for those who can't. And if you speak the native language of an English language learning student, go ahead and help them. It doesn't take that much time of your day to just translate something, just help them communicate with the teacher. And also, it would be cool if you would help them a little bit, a couple of basic words in English.
And most importantly, if you're watching this and you have any power, you have any say over this, help us redefine what an IEP is. Each student is obviously going to benefit from it. We want everyone to have the same access, the same opportunities, the same skills. We want everybody to develop the same, and we just want all our students to succeed.